Hello, my name is Rina Alinsug, and today I'll be discussing two important standards relevant to Task 1. These are AS 5369-2023, which relates to the reprocessing of reusable medical devices, and NZS 8134-2021, which sets standards for health and disability services in New Zealand. Let's begin with the AS 5369-2023 standard. This standard outlines the requirements for cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization of reusable medical devices. Its primary goal is to ensure that such devices are safe for patient use and do not pose risk of infection or cross-contamination by providing clear guidance on how to manage reusable instruments. This standard supports best practices in infection prevention and control. AS 5369-2023 is considered an industry best practice standard. This means this is not legally enforceable by its own, but it's widely accepted and followed within the healthcare industry. In some cases, however, it may be referenced in regulations or audits, especially in quality and safety reviews. One of the core components of this standard is the emphasis of validating and controlling each step of the reprocessing cycle. This includes cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization, as well as storage and handling of medical devices. Facilities are expected to implement robust systems to ensure that all processes are effective and repeatable. Documenting is also critical. Everything must be traceable and verifiable. It also places a strong importance on staff training and competency. Personnel responsible for reprocessing must be adequately trained, and their competencies should be reviewed regularly. This is because the improper handling of reprocessing of medical devices can lead to serious consequences, including infection outbreaks and procedural failures. In terms of scope, AS 5369 applies to both health and non-health facilities where usable medical devices are used. This includes hospitals, clinics, dental practices, and other healthcare settings. Interestingly, it also extends to procedures like tattooing and body piercing, where reusable equipment is used and where infection control is equally critical. The standard excludes single-use instruments and the manufacturing of chemical and biological indicators, which fall under different regulatory frameworks. Now let's move on to the second standards, which is the NZS 8134 2021. NZS 8134 2021 is a New Zealand standard that applies to a broad range of health and disability services. This includes both public and private providers, from large and publicly funded hospitals to small and single owner facilities. The standard covers a wide variety of services, including physiotherapy, rehabilitation, mental health care, aged care, and more. Unlike AS 5369-2021, 2023, NZS 8134 2021 is legally enforceable. It is mandatory under New Zealand legislation, and services that fall within its scope are legally required to comply. Its implementation supports the delivery of safe, effective, and person-centered care with a strong emphasis on quality and accountability. One of the key features of this standard is its focus on continuous improvement and consumer well-being. It encourages organizations to develop systems that not only meet minimum requirements but also strive for excellent service delivery. It also stresses the importance of cultural responsiveness, especially in alignment with the Treaty of Waitangi, which plays a foundational role in the New Zealand health system. Compliance with NZS 8134 2021 also helps providers meet their obligations under various pieces of legislation, including Health and Disability Services Act Safety Act 2001 and Human Assisted Reproductive Technology Act 2004. It is structured to support certification and auditing process, making sure that services held accountable for the care they provide. Making sure services are held accountable for the care they provide. It's important to note that while NZS 813 for 2021 covers a broad spectrum of services, it includes it excludes services that are not required to be certified under Health and Disability Services Act 2001. This means some providers might operate outside of this standard depending on the nature of their service and whether the certification is mandatory for them. In conclusion, both AS 5369-2023 and NZS 813 for 2021 play critical roles in upholding health and safety standards with different contexts. AS 5369 focuses on best practices for processing medical devices, helping ensure equipment is safe and properly maintained, while NZS 8134 outlines legal and mandatory requirements for delivering high quality health and disability services in New Zealand. Understanding these standards not only helps to ensure compliance but also contributes to better patient outcomes, improved service delivery, and safer environment for patients and healthcare providers. Thank you for listening.